Alright guys, day 2 with the Rebel. Gonna test out how these things are on the light trails. I have been doing these guys a lot, so that is gonna be a big change because the Rebels are not as cushion and comfy as what has been my daily trainer for the past few weeks. So we'll see how this guy goes. Hey, pull up with the newbies. Mad dash to school. Alright guys, here at the park again today. Gonna get some miles in at the Greenway, and I had to untie the left shoe because it was being a little weird up there. So I haven't really figured out how to get the perfect lockdown with these guys yet. The upper, it definitely is roomy, but it's not roomy in the way you might expect. And it feels like I really gotta crank down on the top here to get that football look. And I was thinking about this. I know we got a lot of foreign watchers. So when I say football, I'm talking about a pigskin. That big old American orb, not a soccer ball. Shout out Puma though. Alright, so I think plan for the run today is to get 12 miles in at a nice aerobic pace. I actually am coming here by myself this morning, and it is absolutely beautiful. But we don't have any Reevesy boy today, so this is gonna be a good time for me to just go out there, crank through some miles. These are the building blocks of training. These nice, long aerobic runs where you can just commune, that's a new word for you guys, where you can just commune with nature. Look at this beauty this morning. So hopefully we'll be around 90 minutes and we'll get to see how these do with a little bit more time on feet. I don't think I'm gonna be pushing the pace too much though. And I know that's what these guys are designed for. We will have a chance to put some fast miles in them, but that's not gonna be this morning. Man, it's not even Carolina cold anymore. It's just nice out here. Alright guys, 12 miles at a 7:48 pace for $1:30 or 93 minutes. And man, those are the runs that build some fitness right there. That felt a lot faster than it was, meaning I'm probably under recovered, but also it's all fun and games running in the Diodora Gara, the Tier Valkyrie, the New Balance SC Elite, the Hoka Cielo. It's all fun and games putting down pace in those plated shoes. But coming back to something like this, it is a completely different experience. And even just working to hold some 7:30 pace in this, I had to put some serious effort to turn over my legs. So this is the type of shoe, it seems like it's really gonna be good for building strength. And I could feel it working my calves. I could just feel my body doing a little bit more work in these guys than in a plated shoe. So all right guys, time for some serious recovery, because if I need a double today, I'm gonna need to get my act together. I don't think my sleep has been that great. My nutrition's not been great. And so this is what we call orange lining. It's okay to orange line, but we don't want a red line. I actually don't have tailwind left, so I'm gonna have one of these homemade muffins and some of these veggie sausage with the rest of my water. But tailwind is my absolute lifesaver. I need to get some more. They sent me, I think, 1 or 2 free bags, But guys, if you haven't tried the Tailwind yet, I'll put the link below. The recovery mix is the absolute greatest. It completely saves me if I need to go 90 minutes to 2 hours without eating after a run, especially when I'm super busy. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go get that starter kit and use the code Yoanna25 for 25% off. Also helps support the channel. And I'd love if you supported the channel so I could support you guys with all the stuff I'm building. All right, guys, time to get home. For lunch, I'm gonna do a little bit of this chickpea salad. I don't eat tuna, so this is a good replacement. Get some protein. And of course, we got the coffee, water, and electrolytes over there. Gotta hydrate for these double days. Now, we did the 12 miles in this morning. Before that, I was running a lot of my daily miles in the New Balance 1080 V13. I did my 300 mile review of that earlier this week, and these shoes just have such different characters, right? The New Balance 1080 V13 leans to the slow side, and it feels just super cushioned. It takes all that stress off your legs. Felt like I could just go 2 hours in this, just ticking along the miles in comfort, relaxation. This is the complete opposite so far. It's a lot stiffer, a lot firmer. It feels like it wants me to go, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds per mile faster at an everyday running pace than I normally would. And it feels like I gotta put a little bit more effort into the shoe to really get what I want out of it. So these actually might be a nice pairing for a 2-shoe training rotation if you didn't want to go plated. Use the 1080 for those days where you're feeling beat up. Use the Rebel for those days where you want to get beat up. Now, I also have done a lot of work in the Boston 12, but the difference between a shoe like the Boston 12 and the 1080 is that the plate in here is going to give you a lot more support, or the energy rods in this case, it's going to give you a lot more support for those speed workouts. And sometimes it's nice to not have all that support and to run in a simpler shoe. So that's the point of me doing a double day in this and putting some more miles in this guy again. It's to help build up some of that strength, to purposely, intentionally work a little bit more so that I'm not exposing any weaknesses by just running in all these plated shoes all the time. It's not good to just run in plated shoes and max stack shoes all the time. We gotta eat that tofu and quinoa too. $219, I'm talking to the tier marketing people at 3, trying to see if I can get you guys a deal on these bad boys because I love them so much. I want to see if I can get a 25% off or $25 off code to make these more comparable to the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Get the price down to $225. That would be nice. If not, hopefully I can get something for you guys. But before then, we gotta do snack time. Bam! Look at that thing. Dude, this has got to be one of the best breads you've ever made. Homemade bread. It's just beautiful. Dude, it's like a work of art.
You're so ridiculous.
Hey, Supwell Kitchen.
Oh wow, look at that.
Why is it overcooked?
Because you don't necessarily
you don't want the big holes.
Yeah.
Unless you put cinnamon in it.
I want to do a cinnamon sugar.
Ooh, it's warm still. Alright, tier meeting time, let's do it. Gonna get a little hour jog in here, 8 miles hopefully with the stroller, bring us to 20 on the day. Need to get these aerobic miles in again. 8 stroller miles, let's go. Alright guys, 20 miles on the day complete. Just did 8 more 8.2 miles at an 8:20 pace. And I'm really coming around on these things. They're just a nice, simple shoe. Not the most comfortable in the world, not the most cushioned in the world, but it gets the job done for these high mileage days when I want to feel like I'm building fitness and grind through some miles without the extra support. That's what these things are going to be good for. Definitely does not take the burden off of my legs, which is an expression I use a lot of the time to describe some plated shoes like the DV8 Nitro 2, ST Trainer V2. This is the complete opposite of that. But for putting in that work, for some grindy days, when you want to stand up straight and tall, shout out to Boldy James, and just crank through some work, that's what these things are good for, man. I'm a fan. Now I was joking around yesterday and calling these tofu and quinoa, but I'm vegan, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But these are the types of shoes that make me feel like a healthy and strong runner. And it's not bad to eat that tofu and quinoa sometimes. But with that, so far, I'm not feeling like it's the most fun shoe in the world. And that is something that V3 had for me. With that bouncy, supercritical TPU EVA blend, it felt very fun. With these guys here, they feel a little bit workman-like. Again, not a bad thing, but I've never run in a Kinvara or Saucony ride, but I think that's kind of, if you're a fan of the Kinvara, you might like this thing. At least so far. Maybe it's going to soften up a lot more and magically get some bounce. But at this point, that's not what I'm feeling. This feels kind of like a low stack workhorse, which is not a bad thing. All right, guys, dinner time. And then maybe a little workout tomorrow. We'll see. I don't have my Tailwind today, so I'm going to go with an Athletic IPA as my recovery drink. And of course, it doesn't have protein, but sometimes it's nice just getting something else other than water. This has a little bit of carbs in it. And I think I might be an affiliate for Athletic. I love this stuff. It's non-alcoholic IPA. So if I can dig up the link, I'll put it below, but this would be a great thing to try before the weekend if you want a non-alcoholic beer for your Super Bowl parties. Check this guy out, Athletic Brewing. Stuff is fire. Cheers. Now, before we do dinner and close it out, I did want to talk a little bit about my strategy in general for rotating through shoes. So I always like to have one non-plated lower stack shoe in the rotation because it really can help build strength. And I've been running in so many of these plated shoes recently that this Rebel V4 has been exposing, I don't know if it's a weakness, but just a little bit of underdeveloped stuff with my lower legs that I haven't been working as much. And this was something that actually made me quit plated shoes last year. So during this super high mileage training, I hit 120 miles per week last week. It is really nice to have these carbon fiber plated and plastic plated shoes that help make hitting this mileage level a little bit more tolerable. But it's also good sometimes to stress the body, and it's not only something we can do through pace and through volume, but switching up the footwear, making it a little bit more challenging with a low stack shoe like the Rebel is a good thing during training. Now, with that, if you are someone who likes a super soft cushioned shoe or needs some more support, or an older runner who needs more impact absorption for your joints, it's likely that the Rebel is not going to be the best shoe for you. But for me, wanting to challenge myself a little bit more, and also for anybody wanting to run some faster days out there on the track and have a little bit more control over the shoe, I think the technical term is proprioception, something like that. Completely butchered it, but a little bit more ground feel and contact with the earth, feeling like you're connected to the speed that you're running. That's what the Rebel V4 is going to be great for. So while they did change the foam and it is a little bit of a stiffer shoe, so far it seems like it's retained that identity of being a simple, no frills shoe, which is a must have in my rotation at any time of training. All right, guys, dinner time. Another banger. Apparently this is a New York Times cooking recipe, so I will link it. It is gnocchi, Brussels sprouts, and vegan sausage. Alright, what's up guys? We're in the office just finishing this editing here, and before we sign off for the night, I did want to say just a minute on this double run day in general, because this was a question I got a few weeks ago about when to add in double run days. So the whole purpose of doing 2 runs in one day is so that we can do more aerobic mileage. And so
volume for the sake of just getting out there and running, that's not really the point, but the point is to build our aerobic base to make our bodies more efficient at burning fat as a fuel source and also at using oxygen so that we're not just going out there and blowing up every time we go out and run hard. So over time, by building up this aerobic base, we can gradually run a little bit faster and still be aerobic, meaning we're still relying on oxygen to power our muscles and not getting into that anaerobic territory, which is where we really start burning a lot of carbs and have to slow down. And so double days is one of the ways that we can increase our volume, especially most of us with busy lives. We can't do 20-mile long runs every morning. And it also reduces the impact by splitting it up a little bit like that, because doing a 20-miler, once you get past that 2-hour mark, your body starts to get a little bit more stressed. But if you break it up, do 10 in the morning, 10 at night, or 12 in the morning like I did today, and 8 at night, you're gonna have a little bit of an easier go at it. So I added in double days around, I think 50 to 60 miles, and I knew that one day I wanted to ramp up to 100 plus miles. So that's why I added it in, to prepare my body to run twice a day. Now, before that, I'd already been doing CrossFit workouts and other lifting. I'd done tons of 2-a-days in the past from playing sports, so I was already used to it. But if you aspire to run high mileage, you can add in double days as soon as you want. And you can start off with just adding in another 15 to 30 minute run at the end of the day. And one of the barriers of double runs is that they're not super efficient. So you have to spend more time showering, get all your clothes, and it's much easier and makes a lot more sense for most people to just run 8 miles or 8 to 10 miles in the morning versus 6 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. But if that's what works for your schedule, more mileage is always better than less mileage if you're not getting injured and if you're not overly exerting yourself. So you can add in double days whenever, wherever you want, as long as you're still able to hit the paces that you need to in your workout to train for your goal time and you're not getting injured. So those are the keys to double days. Whenever I'm doing a double day, I'm not at the phase of my training yet where I'm doing 2 hard workouts in one day. That's double threshold days, is a strategy that some elites use, and I've done it occasionally here and there, but I love to use it as a way to get some extra, just nice aerobic mileage in, and that's exactly what we did today. And Rebel V4 was a good training companion for it on a day where I wanted to push myself a little bit more. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow with another video.